My name is Carlos Restrepo, and this is... On this episode, we'll be featuring Ken and Sheri Whetham, both extremely successful athletes and teachers. So guys, I met Ken and Sheri at a kettlebell seminar at Fortis Fitness West, and if I had to use 3 words to describe them, I would say dominant, humble, and accomplished. So without further ado, this is Ken's list of accomplishments. Ken has set all the Canadian national records in his powerlifting division. He's an elite powerlifter, having won 2 Canadian national championships, as well as winning gold at the WPC World Powerlifting Championships. He has won a Canadian national championship at the Fire Fit Combat Challenge in 2012. He has competed and won several kettlebell sport competitions. He's a certified kettlebell coach and WKC Master Kettlebell Trainer. On top of all of this, he's a full-time firefighter and rescue technician. Something that you might not also know about Ken is that he's in a metal band called Monster. Now here's a little bit about Sheri. Sheri holds 19 world records and 33 national records. She has competed in 3 weight divisions: 148, 165, and 181. She's a 3-time gold medal champion at the WPC World Powerlifting Championships. She's competed in kettlebell sport for 10 years, winning several competitions in the US and Canada. She trains and coaches several people in the fitness industry, as well as people that compete in the kettlebell sport. She also works full-time in the justice system. So these are some pretty impressive accomplishments, but I think you'll be more impressed by when Ken and Sheri accomplish these things in their lives. So without further ado, here's episode 6. So we're on here. I just want to say, Ken and Sheri, thank you so much for doing this. This is, I guess, episode 6 of Music is Conditioning, and I'm extremely excited to be able to just speak to you guys. I've obviously never done a seminar with you guys, and that was awesome. So to be here right now in the Movement household, awesome. So I wanted to ask you guys, how and when did you guys get started in powerlifting?
We started late. We're late bloomers.
Late bloomers. I never did my first powerlifting meet until I was 48.
So I started lifting when I was, I don't want to age myself, but maybe 51, 52. It actually happened for me when I watched Ken decided we went to the Arnolds and he saw these big lifters and he said, oh my God, I have to try this. So we went to Relentless in Detroit. It was a powerlifting fundraiser for terminally ill children. And just the experience in itself made me go, wow, this powerlifting is not about strength, it's about the camaraderie and the community and family, and I can do this, because I was watching women up there powerlift and I'm like, I can do that now and I'm not even training.
We were down, like Sheri said, at the Arnolds. I think we were competing in kettlebells, and the one day that we were there, we went down to the auditorium, and they had the old auditorium at a different location, and they had the powerlifting, the XPC powerlifting meet there, and it was mind-blowing because I saw Brian Carroll for the first time, Al Meehan, all these guys that were just like 1,000-pound squat, 1,000-pound squat, 1,000-pound squat. Like it was mind-blowing, and I'd never seen it before, and so it was just we just started looking into it and started when we got home. It was funny because so then I get home and I start on the computer and Canadian powerlifting and found Bruce McIntyre from the CPF, and I got his email, and I just sent him a message, and it was just out of curiosity, you know, like, you know anybody around the Oshawa area or Toronto area that, you know, I'd be able to hang out with and learn how to power lift type of thing. And then we got in touch with Clint Hardwood through Bruce McIntyre, and Clint was, amazing bench press. Like he's benched 859, I think. He set a ton of records. Super nice guy, and I got a hold of him through Bruce, and he said, "Yeah, come on down." And I went down there in a single car garage. You know, this was at the Anvil in Toronto, and this powerlifting gym, and I went down there, and it was a single car garage with a homemade model lift, deadlift platform, and a bench, and about 1 million pounds in plates. Mm. And when I went there the first time, there was about 13 guys in there. And it was really cool. And I started going down there, and just did my first meet at 48. I think I squatted 705 in my first meet.
Have you had any frustrations on your journey to becoming world class?
Yeah, there's been a few frustrating parts. We went to the 2014 WPC World Championships in Florida, and we both got first place in our class, which is awesome. So every other year it goes to Europe, and then it comes back to North America. So 2016, they were in Baton Rouge, right? Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So
2 weeks.
2 weeks before I was really getting dialed in, and Todd Brock was helping me, and I felt really, really good. And we were doing 2 weeks before we were leaving. We were doing high angle rope rescue at work, and I was up in a tower rappelling with a new recruit, and got jammed on the rope, and I ended up having to do a line transfer on the rope anyway, and cut the rope. But anyway, I dropped about 3 feet or whatever, and got jammed in the harness. So it didn't seem that bad, until a couple days later, and my whole leg started turning black. Yeah. So the shock of hitting the rope, it just turned my leg black, and then it just went down my leg, and my calf and my ankle started swelling up, and my foot turned black, and so I couldn't compete, and I was so dialed in for that meet.
Yeah, so you had 4 months of prep, and then 2 weeks before he gets injured at work.
So it was kind of, I could hardly walk when I went, we still went because Sheri competed, so we went down, and I could hardly walk. My foot was just throbbing and booming, and
that wasn't a fun experience for me. Fun. Like, I was competing, and he was in pain, and he was injured, and he would just sit at the pool and put his leg in the cold water, like that's how bad it hurt.
Oh, it was killing me.
So, I kind of felt bad, and it wasn't a really good experience for either one of us. It happened once at the Arnold's too. I was at one of my higher level competitions. This was the open category, so I wasn't in the almost dead category. And it was a pretty big meet for me, and he got injured again before the meet.
My last training session before the meet.
And then same thing. He's in the hotel room the night before I'm competing, and he's in so much pain.
Yeah, that reminds me of, I know musicians that have had tendonitis, and that's an entire year done, can't really progress. Maybe they were preparing for something, and they overworked. Yeah. And then bam, that's it. And then out of nowhere, they're like, yep, physio says I gotta do this for 3 months. It's gonna just... So, and it's even, because I've done Muay Thai kickboxing for 10 years. And we definitely have had cases where somebody's prepping for something, and then bam, that happens, and that's,
It really, it's really deflating, especially when the amount of work that you put into it, that's for sure. Yeah, but you can lay around and cry about it, or you can just kind of, when it gets better, I'll start again,
Right. I wrote articles on pity. I'm having a pity party right now because I feel sorry for myself, but I'm down and I'm injured and I can't do this and I can't do that. But as long as you do what you need to do for your rehab and your recovery, and you've got another goal down the road, then you should be able to get through any setback.
Yeah, I almost think when I see people in that position, I always feel like, well, you can always listen to music, you can always analyze music, you can always watch tape. If you have tape of what you've done before, you can do that.
But it's the same old thing, right? You got to try and maintain a positive mindset.
Yeah.
You really do. So.
There's always something else to do. Always.
Yeah.
There's always options.
It's so easy to get dragged down into that rabbit hole, you know, if you want to, or if you let yourself or allow yourself. But, you know, and sometimes it's pretty tough to be positive, that's for sure. Like there's been a few times where it's just been, oh man, what am I doing? Like, you know, this is. Yeah,
I'm always in pain. It hurts. I'm always sorry. Why are we doing this? You know, it's like, why?
Yeah, I think that's the thing that both athletes and musicians of any type always feel like, especially because I think the journey to success is a long one.
Oh yeah.
So there's always, I think, a moment where it's like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Why, especially through the suffering of just like, and I'm sure you guys have you've seen maybe other friends or colleagues, and you're just like, I don't have to do this. Yeah. Why am I doing this? Yeah. While you're still training and you're ready to go, and it's just like,
exactly.
You know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's 100%.
Oh yeah, I've had friends and some of our family, Mom, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? This is stupid. Why are you doing this? You know, so you do it because you have a reason, right? It's your destiny. It's your journey.
Once you get passionate about something, you know, it's pretty hard to dial it down or hit the off switch.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember because I interviewed Jeremy. So Jeremy talked about this idea of he looked at me and he's like, Carlos, if you want to practice 5 hours a day, you're gonna practice 5 hours a day, right? Yeah. If your neighbors won't let you practice 5 hours a day, you're gonna find a way to practice 5 hours a day, right? Yeah. And it's like this idea of willing it.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
It is what it is. I'm gonna will this to happen.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's a good one. Willing it to happen. Yeah.
Because you know, if stuff was easy, everybody would be doing whatever. You know, like you definitely have to be passionate about something, and once I don't know, I've always gone 100% at everything I've ever kind of got dialed into. So
110.
It's interesting that you guys bring up this idea of age, because you'll see people doubt themselves. I'm sure with age you've met people that are like, no, that's beyond me.
I mean, I always doubted myself. I always said, I'm too old for that. I'm over 50. I'm not gonna do that. And then I'm like, wait a second.
According to who?
Yeah, wait a second. Yes, I can do that. So then I would start more positive self-talk, and I can do that, and I can do this, and the next thing you know, I'm 56 years old, deadlifting 460 pounds. So, you know, it's all up here.
I'm sure that Sheri can deadlift more than 80% of the guys that I work with.
Yeah, I feel that way.
You know, so.
But, you know.
In fact, I've said that a couple times to some guys.
You can almost deadlift as much as my wife.
Yeah, one guy at work had a video that he was trying to pull 4 plates, well 405 I guess, and he didn't quite get it. And I said, oh well, you know, it's not too bad, but pretty soon, you know, my wife only deadlifts like 465, so you know, keep at it, keep going. Can't help it once in a while.
Yeah, but no, age should not be a factor, but people let it.
They use it as a crutch to not do. It's a path of least resistance, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion, the older you get, the more important it is for you to do some degree of strength training. You know, like, and people go, oh, I can't do that. I'm too old for that. Too old for this. Too old for that. Why? Who says who?
Like, you can never say that. Oh no, that ship has sailed. I can't do that, or I'll never be able to do that. Like, you've already talked yourself out of it, right? So it's the power of positive thinking too.
But it's funny because I feel like for somebody that works a 9 to 5, how important strength training is for postural development over time. And then I think about music. I think a lot of people forget that the initial reason why music is in high school is not necessarily to make you Eddie Van Halen, but it's really done for the purpose of having an artistic outlet. Right. So that when you grow older, for whatever reason life happens, you can play guitar, you can do photography, you can draw,
Right.
and that can be a way of relieving stress. And I think
Sure.
like people forget the importance of, a strength training program isn't, if you want to go on the platform, sure, but this has so much more benefits to your life
Oh, yeah.
that you should
Yeah.
give it a try. You should just go for it.
That's right.
And it doesn't have to be anything, I mean, using resistance bands could be strength training for some people. You can get a good workout, or you do some, light work, or just go for a walk with some ankle weights on, or, a weight vest or whatever. It doesn't have to be extreme. You don't have to have a lot of tools. You can get a good workout with minimal tools.
Yeah.
Even body weight training, there's endless amounts of things that you can do if you're creative. So
Even this piece of equipment right here, you can chuck this in a car.
oh,
Bam. That's it.
that's our go-to.
I know you guys have trained for powerlifting meets, but how is it like to train for kettlebell sport?
Training for kettlebell sport, I think will take anybody's fitness level way beyond the next level.
Yeah.
It's a totally different way of training, and instead of training, for reps or sets and reps, you're training for time and revolutions per minute. And when you start getting into 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minute sets at however many revolutions you're doing, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, and then the mental
Toughness.
aspect of it. It's a really, really tough sport to try and break through that mental barrier of being able to do it for that long.
Oh, I always used to say when I was doing my long sets of kettlebells, I would rather deadlift 450 pounds. You lift it up, you put it down, and I'm done.
Yeah, I've always said for a long time that if you have some kind of strength component, it doesn't necessarily have to be as extreme as powerlifting, but if you had some kind of strength component plus kettlebells for your work capacity, endurance, and fitness, I think that's the ultimate combination for sure.
Another question I wanted to ask is about sleep. So the importance of sleep, because I know for me,
Huge.
practice with minimal sleep versus practice with sleep is so different. I almost feel like how could I not have slept? How can I be practicing?
I think that sleep is probably one of the most important and underrated part of performance, period.
Whether it's training or music
Whether
or
it's
work
training,
or
whether it's
any
work,
performance.
because you regulate your hormone. Your hormonal system is regulated on your sleep, and we're all designed to be sleeping when it's dark out and be awake when it's light out. And with all this artificial light and cell phones and electronics and everything, that a lot of people get out of whack, and I think then you start having all these issues and health issues. But you have to make sleep a priority. You really, really do. And if your sleep is shitty, your performance will be shitty, your work will be shitty, everything is.
And I think you have to figure out what works for you. So if you're really tired in the mornings, then maybe not practice in the mornings and practice at night. Or same with training. If it's really heavy in the morning and you can't train, then train at night. You got to figure out what works for you, for your body and your sleep. But
and a lot of people every cell in your body is light sensitive. So one of the things that I was reading there about, they were doing experiments at a university where they were testing light cycles and the effects on hormonal changes. And they had a person that was in a blacked out room, and they shone a light on the back of his knee about the size of a quarter, and they measured hormonal disruption from that little bit of light shining on that person's knee. So if you go to bed and you're wearing a sleep mask, but there's light in your room, you're still going to be exposed to that light. And it's super important to make sure that you're totally blacked out. Your room is all covered up. There's no lights. There's no TV right before bed, or TV in your bedroom. Probably one of the worst things you can do. But you have to make it a priority. You have to say, I'm getting, I'd like to get 8 hours of sleep a night, but most people are less. But you got to have a good quality sleep to be able to perform at anything, really. And if it's disrupted, you're done, really. So try and function on no sleep.
Yeah, I think even because music is so cognitive, I feel like just the way that you hear is different. The way that you
100%.
perceive intonation, notes, sense of pulse is just different. You're not as finely refined.
You're not sure.
Yeah, I mean, even from a fitness and music perspective, like neurologically speaking, your coordination might not be there, and it makes me think about like lifting heavy weight. You might not have the same neural sort of drive to be able to lift something that before was easy and now it feels extremely hard.
Yeah, and it's really tough on with people that work shift work, and I sympathize with everybody because now I've been lucky that I still don't think I'm quite adjusted, but I got a different job in the training division at work in April, so I've been 7 months, I guess, on days now. And it's been an adjustment, but I'm getting used to it. But it's I feel a lot better already than working the 24-hour shifts and being up and down all through the night and disrupted sleep patterns and I would have to make it a priority to come home and I'm going to bed and I'm not getting up until I would try and piece together some kind of a sleep pattern, but. And then trying to lift as heavy as you're trying to lift and stuff, I mean, it's not optimal for sure. That's why, when you do it professionally and these guys, you see these guys that are, sports athletes and stuff, that's what they do for a living. So they make sure that they have this much sleep and then this much sleep and nutrition and this much sleep. And, everything is all set out and it's so they can play at that level, that extremely high level of what they need to do.
But I can see the musicians on the road too, like you're playing till midnight, 1 o'clock, and then you're unpacking and traveling and I can't even fathom that. That lifestyle would be.
We did a show in Stratford, I guess
3 weeks ago.
Yeah, and we didn't get home here until like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I was
we were
literally
for 2 days,
literally
3 days.
toasted and just out of it for 2 days.
Yeah, I think you have to identify your fatigue. If it is lack of sleep, that can be fixed. But if it's fatigue from something else, then you need to tweak your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Right? Something has to give. So, because if you're mentally fatigued to the point where you're exhausted even though you're sleeping, then you got to tweak something.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I interviewed Stuart Shanker, and he's a psychologist, and I talked about fuel, and we talked about the mind. And I think something that was interesting is he brought up the idea that, your fuel for how you think is glucose, and how that this is actually something that's quantifiable.
Yep.
So somebody who is going through a stressful period, or again, like we talked about with negative thoughts or ideas, how that's, you are burning fuel. And part of being dysregulated is this idea that you don't have enough fuel to manage all of that.
Right.
So it's interesting that you talk about, it's not just sleep, but it's also the mindset. And, are you doing activities that are giving you energy, or are you in situations that are taking energy away?
Right. Exactly.
Thank you for watching part 1, guys. If you enjoyed, here's part 2.